Georgia is known as the Empire State of the South and the Peach State. Georgia's terrain is broken up by farmland and coastal beaches. It is also home to the capital city Atlanta, famous for its 18th and 19th century architecture. And it's the location of the Masters Golf Tournament. Native peoples. Several Native American tribes once lived in the state of Georgia. In fact, the oldest Native American sites in the country are located here. They include Ocmulgee Mounds and Etowah Indian Mounds. The Creeks and Cherokees are two of the largest tribes in Georgia. These two groups have rich cultural traditions. Some of these traditions include storytelling and dancing. You can learn about them at the annual American Indian Festival, held in October at the Gwinnett County Fairgrounds. The Cherokee are descendants of the Iroquoian tribes that migrated to the southeast from the Great Lakes region. They lived in log homes and observed sacred religious practices. They were led by John Ross, who presided over the establishment of the Cherokee Nation. The Creeks were one of the largest tribes in Georgia during the colonial period. Many of these people were fugitives from slavery. They developed agriculture, trade industries, and music. They also developed complex societies. The Creeks lived in southwestern Georgia. Many Georgia traders settled among them. Some married Creek women and had children. The Cherokees occupied northeastern Georgia. The state of Georgia recognized the Cherokee Nation's lands through multiple treaties. The Cherokees left their cultural legacies before the 1830s removal. The Muskogee was another tribe that lived in Georgia. They lived along the Chattahoochee and Flint rivers. Their villages were connected by Indian trails. This system of trade allowed the natives to trade with European settlers. Civil rights movement. During the civil rights movement in Georgia, local African Americans built social institutions and political influence. The state was also home to some of the most well-known leaders in the civil rights movement. An appeal for human rights was a statement of solidarity to the Atlanta's African American community. It was printed in the Atlanta Constitution and the New York Times. The Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, was an Atlanta-based organization of young college students who wanted to see changes in the racial climate in the United States. The organization organized sit-ins to protest segregation in Atlanta restaurants. The movement made national headlines. In addition, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 required Atlanta restaurants to allow black customers to enter. In September 1961, 75 establishments opened their doors to blacks. A small number of segregationists responded with physical violence. A series of successful sit-ins took place in Atlanta in the early 1960s. One was held in Leb's Sandwich Shop on Lucky Street. A small group of whites was sympathetic to the protest. Despite the efforts of black Georgians to improve the economic conditions of their community, segregation continued. In the early 1960s, black students began to take up the slack. They began to attack segregation in schools. The Georgia legislature was scheduled to vote on a measure to desegregate schools in January 1961. The city of Albany was another focal point for the civil rights movement in Georgia. The Albany movement involved up to 1,200 black residents in jail and garnered national headlines. The SNCC was at the forefront of this protest campaign. Please subscribe to our channel. Subtropical climate. Located between the Black Sea and the Caucasus Mountains, Georgia is a country that enjoys a moderately hot and humid subtropical climate. Georgia is a beautiful place to visit and enjoy delicious food and wine. It is also a popular tourist destination. The climate in Georgia is ideal for swimming and winter sports. Georgia has a humid subtropical climate, with a warm summer and cool winter. The average temperature of the warmest month is around 85 degrees, while the average of the coldest month is 35 degrees. Georgia has a humid subtropical to temperate climate. The average humidity in the area is slightly higher in western Georgia. However, the eastern regions of the state have a slightly drier climate. The warmest month in Georgia is July. The coldest month in Georgia is December. The wettest tropical cyclone to hit the state of Georgia was Tropical Storm Alberto in July 1994. The rainfall from this storm exceeded 20 inches in central Georgia. The highest temperature ever recorded in Georgia was 112 degrees. The lowest temperature ever recorded was -17 degrees. Agriculture. Agricultural production and processing industries make up a substantial part of Georgia's GDP. In 2010, the value of these industries accounted for 4.1% of Georgia's total state GDP. Agricultural imports into Georgia have increased by 29% in the past 2 years. The agriculture sector is an important driver of Georgia's GDP growth. The sector provides jobs for 392,400 Georgians. Agricultural exports account for 28% of Georgia's total exports. In addition, the sector contributes to poverty reduction, food security, and climate resilience. The Georgian government has implemented several programs to support the agricultural sector. These programs aim to improve the living conditions of rural citizens, reduce rural poverty, and strengthen rural economic infrastructure. The government has also set up the Agriculture Investment Fund to provide credit to farmers. The fund has supported 103,092 households in Georgia. The agriculture sector is a key source of income for Georgian rural residents. Farming provides 45% of household incomes in rural areas. A large proportion of the rural population still works in agriculture. The value of food production in Georgia has increased significantly over the past decade. However, the agri-food sector remains highly concentrated. Despite the increasing value of agri-food products, exports are limited to a few niche markets. Farmers can diversify their production by producing environmentally sustainable and high-quality agri-food products. Agri-businesses have developed value chains to move agricultural products from farmers to consumers. These value chains provide farmers with access to markets, reduce transaction costs, and strengthen quality control. These processes can accelerate the agri-food system transformation in Georgia. Tourism. Located on the crossroads of Europe and Asia, Georgia offers a variety of tourism experiences. From ancient towns to dramatic snow-capped mountains and lush green valleys, this country has plenty to offer. Tourism in Georgia has grown rapidly over the past 5 years. It employed 158,500 people in 2015 and is expected to reach $6.6 billion by 2025. Travelers have long been attracted to Georgia's dramatic landscapes. The country is filled with wildlife, nature reserves, and rushing rivers. In addition, the wine industry has become a lucrative industry. Georgia is also home to numerous UNESCO World Heritage Sites. The National Tourism Strategy of Georgia aims to increase investment in the tourism industry. This strategy has been formulated through a partnership between the government and private sector. The strategy has 8 strategic objectives. It is designed to maximize tourist satisfaction, enhance the business environment, increase the number of foreign and domestic visitors, increase investment in the tourism industry, and promote the state's hospitality. The strategy aims to attract visitors from high-spending travel markets and develop unique visitor experiences. It also aims to highlight the country's hospitality and customer service. The strategy also aims to boost the value of the tourism industry and convert tourism assets into world-class products and services. Georgia is considered to be a safe travel destination, according to leading World Health organizations. It is also considered to have a pleasant Mediterranean climate. Famous television shows and musicians. Besides the peaches and peanuts of Georgia, it's also home to some of the world's most famous musicians and television shows. It is no surprise that Georgia has a booming film, television, and digital media industry. The state has a large number of production companies, recording and rehearsal spaces, and a plethora of award-winning artists. Here are some of the state's most famous musicians. One of the state's most famous music stars is Ray Charles. The musician was inducted into the Georgia Music Hall of Fame in 2001. He penned some of the state's most iconic tunes, including I Can't Stop Loving You and How Deep Is Your Love. His death from liver failure in 2004 is also well documented. Little Richard, the pianist and singer, was born in Macon, Georgia in 1932. He is often referred to as the architect of rock and roll. Despite some initial rejections, he pushed forward, eventually becoming a part of the Nashville country scene. He was known for his pompadour hairstyle and elaborate costumes. Aside from the state's many landmarks and historical sites, Georgia is home to some of the world's most popular music stars. Lady Antebellum and Zac Brown Band, among others, rule the country charts. Other notable performers include Luke Bryan, 2 Chainz, and B.O.B. Besides the country genre, there are also a number of R&B and pop stars from the Atlanta area. Some of the biggest pop stars include Ciara, Carrie Hilson, and Lil Jon. What is clear is the state of Georgia has plenty to offer both its residents and visitors. This beautiful southern state is full of beauty and history all can enjoy. Please like, share, and subscribe so we can grow and continue producing quality videos. Thanks for watching.